Happy Earth Day, everyone. Happy Earth Day. Thank you, Gaia, for being here and supporting us all. And thank you for all the creatures of the realms who support us on Mother Earth. So every day should be Earth Day. So go and hug a tree, recycle, do what your part, because you are the one who makes the difference, not all those other people. You personally can make a difference on Earth Day. So call in, pray for peace, pray for clearing skies, and pray for everyone on Earth to really be aware where we are actually standing here in space on this beautiful planet called Gaia, called Mother Earth. So, and today we have a special series opening up. Teresa is the creator, and I'm going to hand you over to her. But before I do, please share this out to all your friends, all your groups. Go into your groups and send it out to your friends. Post it on your page, because the more we get out into the universe, the more we can spread the light and our messages from our guests. So, handing it over to you, Mother Teresa. Just a moment.
Thank you. That was beautiful, Rhonda. And what a really special day it is, and what a special time it is. Between Earth Day and Mother's Day, there's 4 weekends. And I've invited some really special guests to be on and to take us from that topic. The series is called The Rise of the Divine Feminine. And today's topic is going to be the Dragons of the Earth Realm. And our guest, is Araya AnRa. And why I'm so excited about her is because when I first found out my higher self was a dragon, I really didn't know what to do with that. I knew I was part angel, what does it mean? And then one day I woke up from a nap and Araya was on, and she was talking about dragons, and every word out of her mouth gave me those spirit chills. Oh my God. In fact, by the end of listening to her, I'm crying and everything. So I reached out to her. I got her book. I got her deck of cards, The Divining with Dragon. And I'm so excited to have her back. Araya was first on our show 6 years ago, talking about the way of the dragon heart. And then she was on 4 years ago with Awakening the Dragon Within. And so today it's going to be the Dragons of the Earth Realm. And so I'd like to welcome you, Araya. Welcome to Spirit Sessions again.
Thank you. I am blown away that it's been that long. I don't know where everything went between now and 2020. Like, it's a blur. And I look back at last week and it was 2020. That's the stepping stone I always go back to, and now it's 2024, and I don't really follow. It's just shocking to my system, and I know part of that is because the way we're operating within time and space now, that time is not operating in the same way. It's a malleable concept, and so I'm just trying to get used to that.
Yeah. It's fascinating times we're in, and we can get buried or we could get lifted. It's really amazing times. One thing we like to do when we start our show now is we like to start with a card pull. And I would be honored if you could pull us a card from your dragon deck today.
Absolutely. So since she's asked, this is the Divining with the Dragons Oracle deck that I put out, it's been 2 years now. It was an award winner and nominated in the year that they had the most decks submitted. They had over 45 decks submitted that year, the International Tarot Card Foundation. And this was nominated in the top 10 and for best deck. And it did win runner-up on New Artist. So Nicholas Alejandro Peña from Buenos Aires, who did the artwork, did extremely well. All right, well, let's pull a card. For the intention always when I pull a card is for everyone that's going to be watching this right now, currently on the replay. And I'm going to have to share on the replay to my groups because I was trying to figure it out.
That's okay. I don't know why we're not playing on Facebook Live.
I'm not that good with the Facebook tech to do that, but all right. So everybody that will catch this on the replay, and for this information being shared today, what is the perfect message to receive from the dragons and how I don't shuffle, I feel the energy, because all I do is work with energy. That's one of my gifts. Reading and feeling energy, and it's splitting and open right here. Whoa, so interesting. The eye of the dragon message.
Oh, beautiful.
So this and everything always ties together. So look at even the coloring. There was something already I knew that this matches perfectly. So for this deck, the eye of the dragon is healing, testing, and challenge. And I'll just hold it up again real clearly for everybody. Healing, testing, and challenge. And I would say that even look at the eye, perfectly matches the Earth Day energy.
It doesn't.
You can never write this script. Like, you can never make this stuff up, right? We have a big joke with that in my groups, like how divinely aligned everything always is when we do activations, or people get information and they get information, and we start sharing and tying it together, and it boggles your mind how perfect everything is when we're working in the field of energy. So this I find perfectly aligned with what I want to share, and healing, testing, and challenge is exactly what we're in right now. Your focus here was for me to talk about the Earth Dragons, or bring messages from the Earth Dragons, and really it's about how the Earth Dragons are connected with our process right now. And as you said, years ago, we talked about the way of the dragon heart. That was stepping into who you be, and the process that I started bringing forward of how to merge into your higher self, how to step into your full light body. And for most of us in my dragon family, they're dragons. And so it's about, all right, how do I merge with that? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And then continuing that path forward. When we spoke again, well, now we're in a place of, we're close to completion. We are in the final phase, is one of the words that's been come through in the last year with my programs. There's been a group who was all about completion. Last fall, I did my quantum flight program, which was the accelerated version after the way of the dragon heart. I did that for several years, and then the dragon said, all right, this 8-month program now needs to be in 8 weeks. 8 weeks of huge quantum leaps forward each week. People are ready for it. Those that are ready will come and find you. And this is what needs to happen, because there's acceleration happening. We need to move forward very quickly. And so this is what we're going to do. And so I only did one group a year. Most of the years that I was doing that, once the dragon said, okay, I thought, how am I going to compress 8 months into 8 weeks?
Oh, wow.
Okay, this is my challenge. And so that really, it's all about energy. And so the mental body gets some information, but we focus on the energetics. Well, after that, this year, I was told that the last one I did was the completion group. They were the completion timeline, and they opened the gateway. The ascension stairway was then opened. People have been able to start moving through, and it takes this group and all of the other groups around the world that are working at that level to get that gate open on a collective level. So it was part of that. But now I thought, well, okay, moving into 2024, am I supposed to do any groups? What are we doing? And it was very interesting, because the dragons came and said, do a foundational program. Do the basics. Go back to the elementals, black and white. Go back to that which is the closest energetic vibration to humanity, because we're circling back.
Okay.
I was like, okay. So I have a online course called Entering the Dragon Realms, which gives a lot of very basic information, but it doesn't focus so much on an initiation with the elementals, black and white. So I created a 6-week program that we're 4 weeks in. Interestingly, here we are. You've got a 4-week program starting. I've just finished 4 weeks. We have 2 more, but those first 4 weeks are on the elementals. So we've done earth, air, fire, and water. And those are the basics. That's the foundation. And why did the dragons want me to go back to that? So let's jump back into January this year, and February 10th, when we entered the year of the wood dragon.
Yeah.
And we entered, there was a new moon on that same lunar new year. And January 20th was a movement into an alignment with several planets into Aquarius for the first time this year. And it'll flit in and out until I think November of this year. And from November forward, I think it's over 20 years that this planetary alignment is in Aquarius. That's moving us into the age of Aquarius in a very solidified way, or very concrete way,
Right.
as of November, but we're flitting in and out. So what I started to notice and realize that I had to talk about with my groups was, all of a sudden, energetically in my own life, I started realizing that everything in every sector of my life, whether it was about land, relationships, family, school, all these different things that are very secular, very 3D world living, started to come into an alignment with truth. And I thought, isn't this interesting? Like things like property boundaries, things like stewardship of property, who's supposed to be the real owner, insurance stuff. It was very odd, but it was very noticeable that, oh my goodness, we are literally starting to align now into absolute truth on all levels with our being.
Wow.
We are moving into completion, which means as that road was paved open, well, all of us are now in cyclical completions of origin point, end point, now meeting it. So you can visualize like the serpent. I always look, I never look at those as snakes. They're they're
Right.
serpentine dragon forms, many lineages, but it's the Ouroboros, the dragon coming around and eating its tail, which completes a cycle. And not only is that a linear completion of a line, the ring closing, but when it does that, it pops spherical and goes to the next dimensional level. So when we have this origin point that we have to get back to, what you're going to start finding in your journey is that, oh my goodness, I've got completion things happening. They're coming into alignment with original truth, with original blueprint design, with intention of the journey here. So that means this is why the Earth Dragons and the Deep Earth and the Middle Earth Dragons are really relevant right now. And I love that this is what you were picking up on for Earth Day. Like, let's bring the dragons in. We got to see why they're why are they like wanting to be part of this? Why are the Earth Dragons all of a sudden relevant? Because for years we've worked with, it started with the Earth Dragons, and in the book it starts with that. But for years now, we've been working with much higher frequency dragons. All of the Syrians, the Pleiadians revealed all their work. Arcturians were starting to come in. The Andaran dragons were presenting themselves. Wow. And it was this mass of quantum leap, quantum leap, quantum leap. Remember who you are. Go up, get the memory back. Go up. But now that we have the memory back, oh, that's who I am. Well, to circle back to the origin point of that, now the keys and codes are in what we've always known. The dragons hold the keys and codes for our full completion, because they hold the original vectors. The original blueprints were created by teams of dragons that then we have locked inside of us. And so fascinatingly, in early February, all aligned with that coming into truth, the new program wasn't in my awareness yet. That literally came in like an overnight thing and scheduled it, and it started 2 or 3 weeks later. What happened in February was that all the Middle Earth Dragons presented, and these are all the gemstone quality ones: the peridot, the citrine, the amethyst, the garnet, the sapphire, the ruby, the emerald. These dragons said, we want to work with humanity. You've got to do guided meditations now.
Okay.
And I went, okay. So I put out, literally within about 2 weeks, I recorded, maybe 10 days, I recorded all 8 meditations. I don't know if it's ever happened where first time through was a go.
Oh, wow.
Because I sit and I start recording, and it just was flowing really powerfully, really beautifully. And it was so amazing for me, because when I'm guiding a meditation, I'm also experiencing it. It's a very strange multi-level thing. So I actually got to work more closely with some of the Middle Earth Dragons than I had before. Like, they presented for the deck. They presented and gave me information, what they wanted in the deck when I created that. But otherwise, unless they present in a client session, I don't necessarily go in and work directly with them unless there's something timing wise that they're saying, all right, we need to do this with you. And so it was this timing. And for me, it was like getting to know my own aquamarine lineage. It blew me away. because that's the upper line of the water dragon lineage. And I hadn't spent time directly with the aquamarine dragon or the garnet dragon to such a degree. And quite honestly, they were my two favorites of the entire series. So I'll just mention that really quickly. The series that I think you guys have a link for, and it'll be shared later, you can buy individuals, a single meditation, or you can buy a set of 4, which is the core 4, the ruby, sapphire, emerald, and amethyst, or you can buy the full rainbow suite collection, which is all 8, which is powerhouse. And so what's interesting there is people are probably saying, well, what's the difference between the earth dragons, the elementals, earth, air, fire, water, and the deep earth dragons? And they're higher octaves of the same frequencies. But if we look at vibrationally, we're 3D. Our bodies are very 3D, right? We're very much cellular, biological. We're in matter. The elementals match that frequency. So they have the first level of coding to break open for us. Then if we're trying to get to 5D, I always look at it like if we have a dimensional layer and you put that in an octave where within that layer, you could, let's just say there's probably hundreds of layers within it, but let's narrow it down to like 10. So if we're at 3.0, the middle earth dragons are at like 3.5.
Oh, wow.
And then the deep earth dragons are at 3.8 vibrationally. They're closest to the crystalline core gateway that breaks through to the bridge of 4D to get to 5D. Wow. So that's why they're so important for our process. They're the closest vibrationally to our next steps of, all right, well, we're at the completion zone. So what's going to happen? Our bodies are going to start shifting biologically. We have to go from carbon to silica elementally. Elementally, we have to go into an etheric bonding from a biological bonding within all the molecular structure of our body to hold that light. So that process is guarded and held by those that have the vibrations that are closest to that to progress us through what we need in order to get there.
Wow.
So that's why I was really excited when you said, well, what's going on with Earth Dragons? Let's do something for Earth Day. Can you be part of this? And I immediately said yes, but I didn't realize until later exactly why. And it's because of this progression since the new year, since that alignment in January, since the Lunar New Year and moving into the year of the Wood Dragon, and then everything that's unfolded since then because of where we're at in the process. So I know that I tend to like drop a whole bunch of information and people are probably going, I didn't quite follow what she said. Listening again is always super key, but does that bring up any questions from your end to clarify?
I have no questions. I am soaking this
hit your
up.
Heart is why. It hit your heart knowing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's really expanding right now too, is our heart knowing of stuff is like, just let it absorb, just sink it in.
Yeah.
You actually got everything that I just said.
Yeah, and all the chills. I even started crying for a little while. It's just all resonating so beautifully. And my God, today more than any other day, I'm reminded of just how much I adore and love the dragons. You know what I mean? You know, it's like, thank you for bringing this forward and sharing.
Absolutely. Well, if you guys don't have questions, then let's look at the card we pulled, because this is a specific energy for today. And with that healing, testing, and challenge, those are a lot of different capacities for a single card to hold. Because in the healing, when you go through the healing, then you hit the test of the challenge to actually break through the other side. So really, if you look at all those, it's about breakthrough. It's about getting to what's my 0 point? What's my completion point look like? And it's going to feel like, so interestingly too, the thing that we just had is another piece of this energetically that's been building and building and building on all the other stepping stones, was the eclipse. So the eclipse, when I tuned in, I got together with one of my dragon hearts that's a rainbow diamond dragon. And she always knows, she's very connected to the Crystal Kingdom. She always knows, like, we got to do a session on this date. And she'll like book the time out. Like, she'll like say, can we do this 2 months ahead of any special alignment? And so she wanted to book and have a session together directly over the eclipse period. So we started at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard. We went through the entire eclipse period. And what happens in work with her is amazing, amazing information comes, because it's like that. All right, here's the next guidepost. This is what's happening. And so I did a live that day about it. It's on my YouTube channel to get more in depth of what I'll briefly share here. I'll summarize a little bit. But what I saw was what they were naming a template turn. And the template turn is exciting for what we're talking about today, because it's not about just us, it's about Gaia. And it was the squeezing the template turn, and I was fascinated that it was to the right. It was clockwise, which for me is typically a descending spiral. But it was the retightening back into the core format that aligns with our blueprint. Both our divine blueprint is humanity, which is the non-distorted, non-manipulated genetic sequencing and blueprint that we had for our body structure, coming in a template where Gaia is also in her divine blueprint. And my body's tingling on this, so this is important for us to talk about. That divine blueprint is what we're now able to start connecting to through that ascension gateway. As we start moving through what I call 0 point gateway, you can envision it like a gateway that's the inversion through the central crystal ball. Like if you had a crystal ball and you were looking at it, and there's a central point that you can't see, like Gaia's central core, that all of a sudden everything in the ball starts flipping inside out and upside down. It's actually righting itself. It's inverting itself. That's energetically what we're going through. That's the gateway. So when we get aligned to that gateway, all of a sudden we're aligned into our original blueprint. That's the test. That's the challenge. That's the healing. So it's exactly aligned with the Eye of the Dragon card. And that's what the eclipse energy was doing. It was pushing us into, and it's going to feel like a compression. It's going to feel like self-combusting, where you're going to feel like, and I was in it for at least 10 days, of like, I am on edge emotionally. I am ready to pop in any emotion possible, but particularly like if there's any anger under the surface, it was like right at the edge.
Yes.
Everything was like, it was this self-combusting compression chamber to get us to release through into that gateway. And everybody's going to go through it in their own timing, but it's been opened. That's what the eclipse energy did. That second eclipse was the completion of that into alignment. So that to me was one of the most exciting things that has happened for us of all the pieces. I mean, in the last 6 years since we first talked, there have been so many movements forward energetically in alignment with planetary alignments that affected things in our body, affected them for Gaia, because we're just a micro mirror of Gaia. We're just that small. And if we can see it in ourselves, then we can see it for Gaia. If we see it for her, then we can mirror it down to ourselves. And what's beyond exciting, the level beyond that, is in the last 2 weeks, along with that eclipse piece, I had a session with someone else that showed that the galactic level has also returned to alignment. So that origin and endpoint completion is also in sequence right now. And there I'm getting body tingles again.
Yeah, how exciting.
Yeah, so there's some big pieces. I'm trying to feel if there's more to mentally talk about, or if we want to, do we have time for a short meditation?
How are we doing on time? Rhonda, unmute.
Yes, we do. We have lots of time. Yeah, for sure. We'd love a short meditation. Just remember, if you're driving, don't close your eyes. You can listen along. And you can listen to this anytime you want on replay, or go to the podcast. It'll be up today, or go back to YouTube and watch it. And now we're live on Facebook. If anybody was wondering what happened, I'm not sure, but we're back on live on Facebook too.
All right, beautiful. So yeah, so what I'm perceiving right now that wants to come through is a huge heart movement. So I'm going to allow, I feel the water dragon lineage. And I think this is not only what's happening for Gaia, it has to do with what they're showing me, is it has to do with the crystalline core, both within ourselves. So your crystalline core is in your womb space. your womb hara space. So the hara is the womb space for the masculine. But instead of being delineated as, well, the women have a womb and the men have a hara, as was in the book, as was our awareness 6 years ago, 3 years ago, they made it very clear that we all have both, that you have an energetic hara space connected with your divine masculine, you have an energetic womb space connected with your feminine. So men that are listening, you have both. Women that are listening, you have both. And that there's a crystal ball within there where your womb hara dragon resides. They guard that inner gateway that I just mentioned. And so this is your crystalline core, but it's also through the heart because it's linked. We have a soul seed that comes in from our soul level as we incarnate. It's the heart anchor. It's that first heartbeat that, as the biological body is born, even at the size of a grain of rice, an infant has a heartbeat, right?
Right.
So in that heartbeat, as soon as the separation happens to bring us into duality, there's a line of energy that drops from that soul seed, and I call it the soul seed, down in the womb hara space. And then there's a line that goes up and creates the wisdom center up in the amygdala, the brainstem.
Right.
So that crystal ball becomes our crystalline core. And when we are in the process of linking back up, it goes through the heart energy. So there's a lot of heart energy flowing right now. Gaia's core is in her central core, and it's also crystalline. So as we are doing this for ourselves today, there's a higher level happening. I can see all kinds of water dragons and aquamarine dragons and the lapis dragons, actually, that are the deep earth counterpart of that, all flowing around her. Like there's masses of them flowing around her crystalline core right now. So there's an activation happening on Gaia's level with us coming together to do this, and we're going to receive it at the same time. So this is pretty exciting. So allowing that, focus on allowing your womb space, hara space, to open, and then open your heart space, expanding it out beyond the human heart chakra and connecting into the high heart chakra, which is about 2 inches in front of your sternum, out in front of the body. It's a chakra that will open as you merge either with your higher dragon self, it's one of the dragon chakras, or as your light body comes in. It's the next level of human. It's part of the divine blueprint human chakras to have this high heart activated, and you'll feel both align all the way down to that womb space. So feel a line of connection coming up from the womb hara space up through the heart, and just allow that to expand. And you may begin to perceive movement around you. And if you can pick it up, you might not be able to perceive it yourself, but there are water dragons and aquamarine dragons flowing in spirals around you. And they're going to start diving and making figure eights in and through the center point, alternating between water dragon and aquamarine dragon. This is the first 2 levels into that, say, 3.0 and 3.5 of our dimensional aspect layering within 3D. And just allow yourself to feel the subtle difference. How the aquamarine dragon and the water dragon are almost head to tail, trading off. And you'll feel the water dragon where it's like, my heart feels open and soft and bright, like it's moving into peace. And as the aquamarine dragon comes in, it takes it into a deeper flow of river, a softer, deeper inner river that you may not have ever accessed before. And just allow that to be breathed in as if you've never opened that inner core of your heart so deeply. And as you do, you're going to feel crystalline energy coming up from the womb space, activating in it and looping back down to the womb space, as if there's your own figure 8 moving from the womb up to the heart, down to the hara, up to the heart, encompassing the high heart, back down, and just follow and allow that movement to keep expanding and opening. And I would allow this every time you think of it. Maybe you can be driving, you can be showering, you can be eating, you can be gardening, you can be working. When it comes into your heart to feel that spark, let that activate, because that's activating the crystalline keys within your body to begin their movement or to open to the expansion, the potential in the field that hasn't been activated yet. It's in your blueprint, but the potential needs to be activated all the way down to your 3D field so that your carbon molecules are ready to move to silica when it's time for you to make that full leap. But there's something stirring within where you're going to start that process. The sparks are going to start moving and flowing. So you may feel like there's electrical activity. The water and the aquamarine are perfect conductors for electrical conductivity. Allow the electromagnetic field to continue expanding. You might perceive sparks. It might feel like little fireworks. It might feel like tingling. It might just feel like, wow, there's so much space in my heart right now. And just let them keep expanding. And the water and the aquamarine dragons, if there's spaces that are stuck in your heart space or stuck in your womb center, your Hara center, you may feel them breathing with their beautiful, they're not using regular flame right now. They're using white flame. It's like a white electric hot, piercing fire to burn away any resistance, doorways, any gateways that are holding back, whether they're out of fear, whether they're just stuck energy that hasn't moved out yet. It may elicit a response emotionally. You may feel tears flowing. You may feel big levels of grief wanting to be released. Let them out. If it's sobbing, let it go. Let it go. If it's screaming and yelling coming up from the base of the womb or Hara, let it out and let it go. Let it be like a river or rage or a volcano erupting up and out of every emotion that's been stuck and held within those spaces. These are the keepers, the connectors of the emotional body. The water lineage, the water dragons in particular, are connected to our emotional bodies as human. Allow whatever emotions are flowing to just be felt, be moved. And you might feel like there's 20, 30, 40 different emotions that you don't even need to put a tag or a label to. Just feel them moving out to the edges of your energy body where the water dragons can just send a big wave and move them out. And feel as that happens, the crystalline expansion through your field. From that central core gateway, there's now crystalline energy expanding itself that you recognize this is part of your original blueprint structure. That crystalline nature, you have 77 crystalline geometries within your field. And maybe it's the first one or two of those being accessed and lit up. They will sequentially fall into activation as you move towards your full ascension process. For now, just recognize like, wow, there's crystalline energy flowing in me that I haven't felt before. And maybe you have, and you're recognizing like, whoa, I didn't realize those crystalline structures were there. And maybe you're feeling the geometries. Maybe they're starting to spin. Just allow that. And as the dragons are masters of efficiency, what you can feel in 10, 11, 12 minutes. We don't need long meditations. We don't need ongoing processes. It literally is a quick in and through, feel it expand. Now sit in that space that's been opened up. You might feel like you're inside the crystal ball and there's light emanating from the center point and just moving through you. If you feel drawn to go through that gateway, let yourself go through and see what you experience. But most of you are going to feel like you're just going to sit within the crystal ball, like you can see it outside of yourself. You're now in it. It's no longer within you. You're within it. It's expanded around you. And just recognize that field of potential. What do you perceive in the field of potential? What do you remember? Let your memories come online before this earth body. When you see and feel the completion point that meets origin point into this earth realm, Allow yourself to perceive the next level up of that. Maybe it's a galactic level, origin point, cycle completion point. What information is coming in that you've been long seeking about? Maybe your lineage, maybe your star seed. And you've been looking for that connection to your star family. And now it's opening up. You have a line of connection coming in, reminding you of maybe star systems beyond the one that you've always oriented to, because it's actually a hub and not home. But it's the hub you came into this galaxy from. Just let whatever memories want to open in come into your field. And even if you're not remembering them now, they're in the field of potential. They're much closer to you now in your framework, in your human 3D format energy body. You might be perceiving like scintillating or percolating energy in the background. A field of plasmic light building up around you. Minaur, Mayarandeha, Malagar miaitane, Mangashmor mietu, Borlainahe ma'ai. Bangash mor miatakai, bandalana hinao, mor edinao makai, bashandanor kia, alahautane mai, bashmina. What is your challenge in this moment? Let it rise up through that central core of the heart, through that crystalline field, to reveal to you the one thing that is your challenge point, to be able to release and go through that gateway. What is the one thing holding you back from your own trauma field or memory field within the earth plane that you're holding on to so tightly? You may not be able to let it go in this moment. You might not be ready. If you are, go ahead and let it go, but let it be known. Because bringing it in consciousness is the first step to letting it go. With a big inhale and exhale, breathe it out forcefully. And let it go. And as the dragons release the figurating, one of the two, a water dragon or an aquamarine dragon, is going to position themselves directly in front of you and present you with a gift. Allow yourself to receive it. You may even be shown what the reason is behind this gift. Why are you being gifted this? What is its purpose? What does it hold for you? Maintaining that state, that open heart, that big plasmic field around you. As the dragons dissolve into mist, feel yourself maintaining that as you simply open your eyes. You're still in the field. And this expanded state stays with you.
Okay, Teresa, 3 minutes or less.
By what the dragons bring.
So amazing. So amazing. Thank you so much. Teresa, I'm waiting to hear Teresa because I know she has a wonderful vision.
Oh, you guys. Okay, so they're just so beautiful. And this whole feeling started before you brought all the answers to everything that I didn't even know how to ask yet. But for months I've been feeling that figure eights going around in me and in my womb. And in fact, in meditations, I can't even remember the name of the sacral chakra or nothing. It's like, it's so I knew something was going on there for me, but I can't always tell. Am I really feeling it here, or is it all around me? I feel it in my feet. And so now I understand what was going on was waiting to be fulfilled today. Now, I saw a bunch of things and I couldn't write them all down because I want to listen, so I'll probably do it again. But in the very beginning toward this thing, I ended up in a room, I could call it an ascended master room. I really don't know what to name this. And it's a long hallway and there's rooms on either side, but there was somebody in a hoodie or something, you know what I mean? They had the...
Yeah.
And I couldn't touch her. Is that a dragon with a hoodie or what? It didn't matter. And as much as it looked like it was right in front of me, I had to walk toward it. And the hallway kept extending and there was more. And then about that time, you're talking about a galactic level. Well, all of a sudden I lifted up above this room, but still in line with it. But now I'm in the Milky Way galaxy. I'm going on a trail, still following the hallway, and I'm going, and these doorways that were open, they're all leading to places. And so I'm seeing this and I'm dying of chills all over me. I mean, it's so exciting. And in the end, when I had the aquamarine dragon was there, and it gave me a big sized diamond and kept telling me it's a diamond heart. And I'm going, okay, well, what's this diamond heart about? And what they're telling me is, just as the diamond is cut and has many faces on it, there's many faces. This is where it gets cloudy, but there's many facets and things coming to me. Oh, because I had to let go. It's the feeling I had to let go of is the same that we're all working with. Trusting who you really are. And they're showing me that it's actually a way of shirking my responsibility every time I choose not to believe in all that I am. And so that diamond was somehow, now that I let go of that, now all these other aspects of me and beyond me, I mean, where I extend to everybody else, was all lined up. Does any of that make sense?
A lot of it makes sense. And there's so much more we could go into. We'd have to talk for hours, but so for me, when I activate a dragon into their dragon heart, a dragon's heart is a full diamond with a core of fire. So if you are a dragon,
yes,
that's you getting your heart back. That's you actually getting your dragon heart realigned and back. And that's, my whole body's tingling on that. So pay attention to that, Teresa. But you may not be the only one that receives something similar to that, because the diamond frequency is what is above the crystalline gateways that we're moving through. The core of the planet has already moved from crystalline to diamond in its field of potential. So that's where we get back into the blueprint. That's where we start moving towards that. But we've forgotten that we're that high of a diamond. We can only translate to crystal from where we're at. And once we get to crystal, then it's it's actually diamond. It's pure, like the highest form of a pure crystal here on Earth. A quartz crystal is a Herkimer diamond. Right. There's no flaws in it. There's no occlusions in it. It's perfect. And did you know that the actual form of diamond is that the double-sided pyramid, the perfect like diamond shape, a raw diamond found that's not been broken in its natural state. I was shocked when I looked it up once. Something rose in me to ask the question, so I Googled it, and here I found this site that showed a picture of a raw diamond in that perfect Merkaba shape.
Wow.
I was blown away.
Wow. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that was powerful for you. And what you said about listening to this meditation again, I want to encourage everybody that listens to this, keep this, like, bookmark it or save it in your videos. I know you have it on the YouTube channel at some point. Save it and go back and listen to the meditation part as often as you feel to, because at different stages, it will give you something else. It will give you another levels. None of the meditations I do are one-offs. Like even any of the Middle Earth Dragon meditations that are now out, listen to them again and again and again over the months, over the years, because there's always another layer to get.
Okay, I can see
Cool.
that.
So
Yeah.
tell us about before we get to the end, tell us about where people can find you on the internet and about your new Earth Dragon
The
meditation
meditations, yeah.
suite.
So I
quite-
have dragonwithin.com is my main site. There's also invokehealing.com. But with the dragon work, dragonwithin.com is where my book, it's now in 4 languages. Woohoo, I just released Dutch.
Oh, cool.
The book is there. You can get it in ebook formats, 3 different ways. You can get it in print, paper, or hardback, 4 different languages. But there's also the Lair site. So on the tabs on dragonwithin.com, there's a link on the homepage where you can get a free calling in your dragon meditation. There's a link to book now where you can find out about my sessions, even the free discovery calls. I do 20-minute discovery calls with people for free. They're not readings, but we learn a lot.
Powerful.
There's a guided meditations tab and an online courses tab. Those are where you find the download products, whether it's a course or the new meditations. I think there's like 20 meditations available now, but the new ones added were the new series of 8. And that's the full core. You'll see the options, Core 4, Rainbow Suite. And then the Lair has all the products where the Lair is where you'll find the deck. And you can, because the download cart is separate, the Lair has its own cart. So if you want a book, hard copy, and a deck, you can order the book through the Lair at the same time in one cart, one transaction. And then on Facebook, I have For the Love of Dragons. There are actually 2 groups called For the Love of Dragons. I don't know how the Facebook algorithms allowed that to happen, but mine is capital LOVE. So For the Love, capital LOVE of Dragons is where you'll find me. I have a YouTube channel at Invoke Healing International. It's got a full dragon playlist with, I want to say there's 400 or more videos from weekly lives for the past 7 years.
Wow.
A lot of information. So there's a lot out there for free, you know. You don't have to do a course with me. They do move you very quickly, but when I'm not offering them or they're not happening for several months, there's so much available on the YouTube channel. You just peruse the titles to pick up and follow your gut. Always follow your heart of what you're led to. That's going to give you the most information that's specific for you. And even if it's a 20-minute video and you get about a 30-second clip that was what you were supposed to hear, it's worth it, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And like you say, you can play them over and over again. The same with your meditations. The more you play them, the more it becomes part of your spiritual practice, the more you get out of things. It's a practice. It means you have to practice it. You have to go over a couple times to do it, no matter what kind of practice you're doing. The more you practice, the better you get, or the more you get from it. So that brings us to about the end of our show. But before we go, we'd like to ask you our 3 special questions. And
okay.
It has been we have been on the air 7 years, and the new thing is our podcast. It's been up this is the 4th season for the podcast, but we'd like to know right now, what's your new theme song? Like you've changed and grown since we first met you, and grown more into your old dragon self, whatever, your dragon original self. So
well, you know what's funny?
Theme song is. My
kids hate it, but my theme song, especially when we are going on a road trip or anytime I'm heading somewhere and I'm like, all right, I've got to break out and just leave the house and everything behind, is Try Everything by Shakira. It was in the movie Zootopia, and I love the music. It gets me blasted into my full energy body, but it's also the lyrics are, I just love them. It's about trying everything. You're going to fall down, you're going to get up again, but you got to try. And so for me, I have a lot of people that contact me and they have these stories they want to share of their dragon. They're like, this is going to sound crazy, or you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you. I'm like, yeah, I am. Because in my realm, everything's possible. And until we open our field of potential, we're really shutting ourselves down.
For sure.
So that's my song. Try Everything.
I love
Shakira,
that.
Absolutely love it. And I love at the end of the Zootopia movie when Shakira is singing it and she's this beautiful, crazy, I think it's a llama.
Oh, wow.
It's really good.
That's awesome. What crystals? I know you're into crystals, obviously, from your crystal dragons too. So, what crystals are you working with right now, or what's your kind of? I know we have all our babies, but what's your very favorite baby right now? Oh, what is that?
Oh,
This is an Andara.
wow.
It's from Shasta.
Yeah.
Called me when I was up there. I was not expecting to go and spend hundreds of dollars on any crystals. And I went into a shop, and it was the same woman I shared a story about before.
Right.
She contacted me, and we had this spontaneous healing session going on, that she was going through something. And I was like, I'm going in the shop, and these crystals called me. There were two like this. And then there was a massive root beer colored one that became the transmitter between where I was and where she was in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
That it sent the energy that much stronger. And then the two smaller ones needed to come home with. I shipped hers to her. But this Andara crystal is what led to, and I want to say it was, I got it, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. I was in Shasta. But it was after that the Andaran dragons started revealing to me.
Wow.
And the Andarans loved, or the dragons that are from that realm, from a, these are interesting because they bridge 4th, 7th, and 11th dimensional. So just like crystal skulls that embody, like galactic masters and beings like to embody crystal skulls, the dragons like the Andaras best.
Wow.
And so a lot of Andaras either will have a dragon already connected with them, or a dragon will come through, because they showed me how they were formed, and they're connected to the dragons, reaching their talons through up into the mountains, through the cities of light, like Telos under Shasta. There's several places around the world that are now coming forward with Andaras, and I knew that they would, but this is my favorite. And it's, talk about an accelerant or an expander. Like when I'm working with this, it's 1,000 times, it's exponentially beyond one of my little old crystals. It's well beyond quartz. So if you can find authentic Andaras, I highly encourage it.
Yeah, and Shasta is the place to find it. There's a few trusted dealers out there, like you said.
Yeah.
It's you have to do your homework on that. Like same with Moldavite. So we come to the last question. So you were at Shasta. Did you see any UFOs while you were there?
Not in Shasta, but I did in Sedona.
Oh, awesome.
And this was a fun story. I'll keep it brief, but I was there on my first Way of the Dragonheart program. So 7 years ago, we did a retreat down there for a weekend. And while we were having conversations at dinner, all of us had said, none of us have ever seen a UFO. And this is like one of the big hotspot areas. Let's put it out there. Let's set our group intention so it's exponential. But we want to see actual evidence. And so that first night, the two men in the group that were there, they actually saw him that night. And I had already gone to bed. I was so irritated.
It's just
but
like
the next night, I was woken at 2 a.m. and told to go outside. And so I went outside and I started watching the sky, and I had a big heart release and some things happening. I was finally not homesick anymore. I was like, all right, I'm good here on Earth. Yeah, I was finally released from the homesickness. And then I started watching, and there were all of these things moving in the sky that were doing geometric configurations, and they were flashing between white, a reddish pink, yellow, a light green, and a light blue. Uh-huh. And they would do that sequence, and then the one over here would do it. And if you were just looking at the sky, you would think, oh, the stars are just blinking. And then you walk away. But if you stare at it long enough, I realized that there were 3 out in front of me here, but then I started noticing that a huge geometric configuration all the way across the sky, and there were at least 13.
Oh, wow.
But there were 2 out here, and I have the photos on my iPhone. I zoomed out, and I got amazing photos of the different color sequences. Wow. And they look like a donut ring with something in the middle that's very geometric, and the light color is on the outside of the outer part of the donut, like the donut part, and then the center of the donut is where it's geometric. So yes, and it was so exciting, and that's the only ones I've ever seen, but I have proof in my phone. And I love to bring it out for people that are the big naysayers and go, well, what is this then?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
So not in Sedona yet, not in Shasta. And I've only been to Shasta since I've been awake spiritually as an adult once.
Where are you located now?
I'm in Reno, Nevada. So oddly enough, I'm only about 4 hours from Shasta.
Yeah,
I
not very
love to
far.
camp
Yeah.
up in that region, but I don't usually drive all the way to Shasta.
No, but I suggest that if you go out and ask to see the star, ask to see them, they'll be there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are; they follow you around.
Yeah, well, I do see a lot of big ships in the clouds here.
Yeah.
Neat.
When they use the clouds for cover,
Oh,
there's some
absolutely.
amazing configurations been over Reno in the last couple of years.
Wow.
For
Cool.
sure, for sure, absolutely. Well, I'm so glad you came on today, and thank you. And let's not make it so long till the next time.
Yeah.
And I know time really does fly, and there is that little blip in the matrix that called that COVID thingy, whatever. I don't know. It just seems like we lost time, but we got time. I don't know. It was really weird.
Well, that's the marker point. Like that whole era was when we shifted out of time began to warp and weave, and we can now actually operate how we want within it or without it. Like I think that's why for me the 4 years have disappeared since then, because I'm not working with time in the same way.
Yes, I get it.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes, I get it.
Teresa,
Thank you for having me. It was really fun. Really fun
Teresa,
to be here again.
Well, it's so awesome. Teresa, have you got anything you want to say before we go?
No, I'm still wrecked. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I am over here so affected. It's like all I want to do is sit down and walk in that room again and this and look at that diamond. I mean, these things were all so for my journey right now. They are just what I needed. And
Perfect.
I'm like blown away. So no, I can't think of nothing to say, but thank you, Araya. Thank you. From my dragon heart to yours. Thank you.
Absolutely a pleasure.
Thank you so much. The audience was just wonderful. And I'm just reminding them that it'll be on the podcast. You can speed ahead and listen to everything, or you can listen to the, just put the meditation on repeat. I'm so glad we got part of that. Go to Araya's website and you can download a whole bunch of meditations. She has a whole bunch of different meditations there. And of course, with the downloading, it's instant. So it's a wonderful way to receive them. Go to her YouTube channel. She's got lots of free content there as well. And while you're there, check us out. Check out the old episodes that Araya has on they're all there on our YouTube station. So, and it's all free. Our content's all free. So thank you very much for being here, and be with us next week when we continue this series. And who's on next week, Teresa?
We have Dr. Amber Wolf, who I first got to know because she would do the meditations before a Cryon event a long time ago. And it's like, who is that voice? And then so finally we got to meet her. And she does a lot of Lemurian work. She works with the Lemurian Sisterhood, and who she's bringing through is the Star Mothers for it.
Wonderful.
And the Dragons of Mu are coming through too. I've seen somewhere about that, and so it's just an amazing time, everybody.
It's going to be a cool party. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Namaste.
Oh,